Ciao amici e benvenuti nella Perso sulla Luna. Hello friends. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you probably noticed from my attempt at an Italian introduction to this video that this is my reaction video series. This is a series where I use Terre de Marseille adjacent or antique Italian decks, or redrawings of antique Italian decks actually, to explore a topic or explore the information, the message that I receive from the larger spread I do during the week. So these days I'm in the middle of my deep dive into the Lenormand system. Yes, you probably already know that if you've been following this channel. And so I've done a large video spread reading this week, and I got a message. I got some information from that. And now I'm using these cards to help crystallize, to try to extract a more perhaps precise, a more nuanced message for us from that spread. Yeah, and the spread this week, I recommend that you watch that video first, by the way, so that you understand why I'm reading these cards in the way I'm reading them. Because the question that I ask for this part of my two-part series, where I do the big spread and then the second video is the reaction to it, is what is the central message of that large spread? And for this year, it's not this calendar year, but for this deep dive year, it's what is the central message of the Lenormand spread that I just read, right? So, if you have not seen that video, I'll put a card up here for you to be able to click on and hop on over and watch that video first and then come back and watch this one. I highly recommend that you do that. Now, just in case you have already seen that video, but it's been a few days, or you watched it in bits and pieces and you wanted just a little bit of a refresher, the title for that video was Choices, right? And the choices were a little bit confusing for me. I hope they made more sense to you. For me, they're a little bit confusing. One choice seemed to be about abundance, and abundance in community with a rising perhaps reputation, success, and promises related to that, and maybe contracts, but promises and cycles of growth. And then the other choice seemed to be of endings, but endings that might be fortunate, that might bring good fortune and might bring perhaps health, perhaps endings that come from messages. We had the idea of invitations, perhaps even in our in this week, the week that we're watching and making this video. So yeah, there are all of those things and these choices that were challenging for me to really pin down. And I don't know about you, for me, my choice would be for the fish, for the abundance rather than the ending, but I just can't think of what in my life right now I would want to end that would be so fortunate. So I don't know. And I really hope that you are happy and willing to have responded to that video, because I'm really curious what other people might have chosen listening to that spread. So I hope this video really does help clarify that one, at least for me, if not for all of us. So I've got a spread already laid out. And before I show you that spread, I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank you for doing all those things that you do, for hitting the thumbs up button, yeah, for subscribing to the channel and hitting the alarm bell. Those things that you do help other people find us and join our community. Did you know that? It's a wonderful thing that you do when you do those things. For commenting below. When you comment below, also, YouTube says, oh, people are engaged, and other people come and find us. So thank you for doing those things as well. Thank you. So, friends. Oh, also remember, at the end of this video, there will be a QR code and a web address for my online tarot shop if you want to go and order a private reading from me for yourself, or for a friend, or for a family member, or for a partner, anybody. Now, or for yourself. I've got a wide variety of possibilities there on offer, so take a look at them. Choose one for yourself or somebody else, and we'll get you a reading, okay? Okay, so friends, here we go. I will show you the spread. We'll talk about the decks I'm using and how the cards are laid out on the table. And then we'll break the spread down into its two major component parts and read those parts together. Are you all ready, friends? Here's this week's spread. Friends, you just saw the spread. What do you think of the decks? Do you know any of the decks? So the three big cards at the top of the spread, they are from a tarot deck. Yeah, it's not it's not a Tarot de Marseille deck. It's not Tarot de Marseille adjacent. It's not even an antique Italian deck. It's actually an antique Italian adjacent deck. It's a recreation of the style of antique Italian decks. You'll notice that they are, and some people would say, oh, just call it a pip deck. Well, except for me, this does follow a tradition of Italian decks. Yeah, you notice that the way that the swords are arranged on the cards, that's an Italianate arrangement. The addition of ribbons is an Italianate flourish, right? The way that the cups are laid out. Now, the background is a little bit different. So this is, for me, an antique Italian adjacent deck. Yeah? It's a mass market deck. It's a deck that's published by Da Vecchi. Now, you might not know the name Da Vecchi. It's an Italian publishing company. And so, the deck is available, but I think you'd have to order it from Italy. It's possible to order it from Italy. I just looked. I can order it from Italy and have it delivered here to me in South Korea. So I'm almost positive you can order it from Amazon Italy and have it delivered wherever you live. Just like you can order from Amazon France and have it delivered wherever you live. The title of the deck is called Tarocchi Giapponese, which means Japanese tarot. So the deck is styled on Japanese culture. And so I chose this deck because the Lenormand deck that we are using is also based on Japanese culture, on Japanese art style. Yeah, so I chose this deck for that reason. And I also, it's a very recent addition to my tarot library. I got it on a trip to Italy, and I love the deck. It's frankly difficult to shuffle because the cards are so freaking big. And I'm a riffle shuffler. Now, I was able to do a side shuffle where you put the cards lengthwise and shuffle the sides or the corners. It's possible. The cardstock is pretty flexible, which is good. Yeah, which is nice. The backs are super plain, just plain old red backs, which is fine. Because if you look at the backs of the okay, the reason why I chose the Oracle deck is because the backs are pretty much the same. I chose the decks by their backs. Yes, I did. Okay, sue me. So the Japanese tarot deck, the Tarocchi Giapponese, wonderful deck. I was a little disappointed that the major arcana cards or even the court cards didn't come out because they are really beautifully drawn in this same style, but very beautifully drawn. So maybe I'll try pulling this out once more before I finish this lunar cycle with the Ukiyo-e Lenormand from Robert M. Place. But so, lovely deck. You can get it. There'll be a link in the description box below. The Oracle deck you saw is another I-ching Oracle. There will be a link in the description box below. It is mass market. It's different from my other I-ching Oracle decks, but it's a lovely, very beautifully drawn, and yet a little minimalist, but not exceedingly minimalist. It's a color palette of like 4 colors, 3 colors I would say, black, gold, and red. Lovely deck. Lovely, lovely deck. And we'll take a look at that, well, the cards from that deck later on in the video. What we're going to do now is I'm going to show you the spread once more. No, I'm not going to show you the spread. I'm going to show you the tarot cards once more. And then we will read those cards. And then I'll show you the oracle cards. And then we'll read those cards. Okay, friends, are you all ready? Here is the set of 3 tarot cards from the Tarocchi Giapponese now. Friends, you saw we got from left to right the 7 of Swords, the 8 of Swords, and the 3 of Cups. And like I said, I am a little bit sad that only the minor arcana came out. While they are lovely cards as they are, the majors are really, really, I love the majors in this deck. I really, really do. So maybe I'll have a chance to show you those majors again in the near future. But we start off with, and we're going to read this spread from left to right. If you know me, you know that I like to read Tarot de Marseille, Antique Italian decks, etc. directionally by the line of gaze. Not homosexual males, but the line of sight. Yeah? But there are no people in these cards. So there's no line of sight or line of gaze here. So we're going to read these cards from left to right because there's no indication to do anything else to me. So we're starting off with the 7 of Swords. And you'll see this very Italianate arrangement of the swords here. What is the 7 of Swords to me? It's teaching, it's writing. Now, the swords are the suit of the mind, right? They're the suit of air for our vision, our communication, for hearing things, hearing news. Now, all those things that happen up here, our rational thought, all those things that happen up here are the suit of air and swords. So, again, and 7s for me are going out into the world, out into the public. Yeah? 7s bring the energy of that suit, of that element, out into our community. So, thinking out into the community, speaking out into the community. So, teaching, writing, thought moving into action, moving it out into the world, right? Ideas into action. But there's also the receptivity, right? We go out and we interact with other people, so we also receive as well as give, right? So we could receive ideas. Active meditation could be turned towards the needs of the world. The world could be the entire globe, but also out into the world, again, our people, our community, the places we work, the places we socialize, the places we interact with people. And our ability to be self-effacing in order to be more giving. So there's that generosity of mind here as well. Think Aquarius. A little bit. Think of Aquarians a little bit here. So we start off the spread by sharing our ideas, by sharing our thoughts, perhaps teaching, but sharing ideas in other ways too, in a very meditative way, yeah, but also active, right? Our thoughts lead to action in the world. And that's followed by the 8 of Swords. Right? Lovely 8 of Swords. And oh, you notice here that there's a little bit of that decoration of beauty here, right? The flowers, the ribbon, which gives us that idea of social interactions, right? We put little garlands up, we tie things up in ribbons, sometimes for ourselves, but mostly for the presentation to other people, right? Here in the Eight of Swords, we've got this bonsai growing. A very Zen kind of thing, right? For the Eight of Swords, we've got clarity, expanded intelligence, and finding our intuition as well. Our mind not identifying with our concepts, but finding clarity in them as well. So we notice, we have thoughts and ideas. We don't identify with those thoughts or ideas. We don't say, for example, if we have this idea, and if we identify with that idea, what does that mean? We tell that idea to somebody else, and they start tearing it down, and we feel like they're tearing us down, right? Because we're identifying with that idea. In the Eight of Swords, we don't identify with our ideas. That means we're free to communicate them, and we're free to allow them to metamorphose. Our mind doesn't identify with those concepts. And we have powerful concentration with the Eight of Swords. And solutions to problems can be found. In fact, those solutions could become obvious beyond our reasoning them out. Yeah, like, oh, that's the answer. Solutions can arise from non-thought. Again, Zen Buddhist kind of thing here. So, as we go out into the world, as we share our ideas, and we put our thoughts into action, we find clarity, right? We find our understanding expanding, but we're not identifying ourselves with the new ideas even, or the expansion of ideas. We're able to find some separation between ourselves and the thoughts we're having, which gives some space for solutions to arise if there are any problems that we're encountering, right? And our ability to concentrate is sharply honed, like a knife or a sword, yes? And that leads us to what? Remember, we've already gone out into the community. We've already shared our ideas and been able to separate ourselves from the ideas we're sharing. And that leads us to the Three of Cups. Now, I love this flow of water going through the card, right? The emotion is flowing like water. So we have what? Perhaps new friends, new community. Our ability to express our emotions is more fluid. We might be working on a common project that's motivated by our love of each other and our love of the work rather than the interests of the people or our interest in the results. Does that make sense? It could be a birth of a first love, but I don't think that's what we're talking about here. Like youthful love, fervent love. You met the other and, oh my God, or intoxicated. That's possible for the Three of Cups, but I don't think that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about our intellectual engagement with the community and with finding clarity. And so as we do that, we find new friends, right? We find an expanded community. We find our ability to express ourselves both intellectually and emotionally now. And so we're able to work together in a more loving environment, enjoying the work more than expecting the results, enjoying the process of doing the work than Dashi, let me say that again. Enjoying the process of doing the work more than the expectation of the results. Does that make sense? So we've got these 3 cards here. And now I'm going to show you the 3 cards from the Oracle deck and see how they interact with these tarot cards. Are you all ready? Here are the cards from the Oracle deck right now. Friends, you just saw the cards from the I-ching deck. And it's unfortunate these cards don't have actual titles on them. They have numbers. I don't know if you were able to see the numbers. Let me show you on this one card here, where my finger is. Do you see that little red box? Yeah, inside of that red box, there's like a sigil, and there's a little number at the bottom of the sigil. It's number 47. Do you see that? My guess is that you probably cannot see that, but each one of the cards has the number, and that is the number of the hexagram. Yeah? So we had from left to right, card number 47, which is, I'm going to attempt the Chinese pronunciation, kun. Then we had number 20, which is quan. And then we had number 29, which is kan. Okay, so 47, 20, 29. Let's see, let's start off with 47, right? These are really beautifully drawn cards. I love the red, I love the black, I love the gold. We see that the hexagram is drawn in gold there, and the black and the red are additional artistic elements, right? Oftentimes there's a person drawn in black, sometimes not. The red is in the sigil, but also in the red dot. There's a red dot on all the cards. We've got a red dot up here. Yeah, you see the figure in the center between these 2 wall-like looking things, and squiggles on the outside. And number 47, I mean kun is exhausting or challenges, difficulties, right? And it is what? It's, oh gosh. I think it is heaven over wind, but I might be wrong. Oh my gosh, I erased part of my information here. But anyways, it is number 47, it's kun. And what does this I-ching hexagram mean? It means facing current challenges. But they're temporary. Now, if we persevere and we can navigate our situation, we will be successful. So the card is asking us to be alert to misunderstandings and misleading situations. So we want to be aware that some things we might not be understanding as much as we think we understand. Now we might not know that what we think is the truth might not be the truth. Yeah? Not that somebody's out there deliberately deceiving us or trying to mess with our minds, but we might not be perceiving things as accurately as we think we are, and so we want to be aware of that and double check, triple check, right? So dedication and persistence will help us. We want to stay patient and open, learning to prepare for what's next. So this card is what's modifying the 7 of Swords card, right? So that's how I laid these cards out, that each of the I-ching cards is going to modify the card above it. So as we go out and we do the teacher work and we put our thoughts into actions, right? We're talking and we're interacting in a situation that might be a little challenging. And we might not be perceiving things as clearly as we think we are. So we want to be non-reactive. We want to be inquisitive, be curious, what's really going on here. We want to be patient as we speak, as we move action, as we move thought into action. We want to be dedicated to doing what we've committed ourselves to doing, committed ourselves to doing. And we want to learn. We want to receive from the community just as we are giving to the community. And prepare for what's next. And that leads us right into that Eight of Swords space, right? Remember, of clarity, exploring our intelligence. And the card that's below that is this card, number 20, which is Quan, which is wind over earth. And it's titled Viewing and Reflection. So observation and reflection. Remember, this is modifying the clarity, Eight of Swords, right? Expanded intelligence, finding our intuition, not identifying with our concepts, right? So we've got that idea of observing and reflecting upon what we see, and that being important. We want to pause and look at the challenges that are existing before us before deciding what to do. Which is interesting because choice is the primary topic for this week's spreads. So as we go out and teach and interact with the world, and we move our thought into action, and we persevere, we're dedicated, we're alert to misunderstandings. We want to find clarity, and in that clarity we can make our choices. But we need to observe to be able to do that. Because the best solution might be right in front of us. That thing that we're going to choose is right there. So, calm objectivity and observation are required to discern our choices with the Eight of Swords. Looking within leads us to wisdom and leads to better choices. Choices, right? That's what this whole spread is about, choices. And we get that from the clarity that comes from interacting with the people around us. Which makes sense because remember, in the Lenormand Spread, we had that idea of community, right? And messages coming in through community, maybe invitations coming in, or we're inviting community in. Invitations with community. That's where we're going to find our clarity, probably. As long as we're not identifying ourselves with the ideas that are out there, and we are able to reflect, pause and reflect and observe, and be open to obvious choices that are perhaps right there in front of us. Looking within as well. And that moves us into the Three of Cups, into greater community, right? And below the community card of the Three of Cups, we have this, 29, which is Kan. Which is what? It's water over water, which is darkness or the abyss. That doesn't sound good, but let's see what we get from it. Yeah? There is danger, there is uncertainty, so we are asked to stay alert. Now in this community, that we have, which is good, there be danger there. Yeah? So we want to stay alert. And committed to our beliefs. We don't want to let the community water our beliefs down, right? We want to be committed to our beliefs. We want to be resilient. We want to hold on to our original intent with honesty. And if we can do that, we can navigate any abyss that might appear before us, any danger or uncertainty that appears before us. We can navigate with our ability to hold on to our initial intent with entering into this community. Our determination and our courage are important now as we are coming through this community of flowing waters. Remember, water over water. But inside of that water over the water, there's an abyss. We could fall into the group think, right? The group emotional think, which would suck us down. Like, what do they call them? Riptides? Riptides will suck you down into the water. So we want to stay true to ourselves, true to our intent, right? We're coming from clarity. We're coming from finding solutions as we enter the deep pools of this community, these new friends, which might pose the danger of our getting lost in those deep waters. We want to make sure that we hold on to our integrity, yeah? And have determination and the courage to swim through these waters. Because with determination, with courage, which are important, we can navigate these dark patches that are inevitable when we increase the number of people that are around us. There's going to be more potential of sinkholes, right? With all that water flowing around. So, we're going to be okay if we stay true to ourselves. Find clarity, stay true to ourselves. That might be the title of this video. Find clarity, stay true to self. Does that make sense? And then the choices that were being discussed in the Lenormand Spread, apparently they will be clear choices for us. Yeah? There we are. There we are. Thank you, friends. Thank you. Thank you for walking through this spread with me. I hope you like this deck. Let me know if you want to see this deck again. We'll shuffle it again, maybe not next week, but the week after, and maybe a court card or some major arcana will jump out for us. I hope so, because this really is a pretty deck. And I love it. I'd love to showcase it a little bit more, especially when we're still working with this Ukiyo et Lenormand from Robert M. Place. Yeah? Does that make sense? Okay, friends, thank you. Thank you for being here. And remember, in just a moment, the QR code and web address for my online tarot shop will appear before your eyes. Scan the QR code or enter the web address derekjohnthomas.com, not so difficult, and you'll jump on over to my shop. And friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.